If you have a question for Tuukka, you can use that raise hand function at the bottom of your screen and we'll get you in queue. We will go first to Steve Conroy.
Hey, Tuukka, how you doing?
Morning, good. How you doing?
Good, thanks. Well, we saw by the contract that money is not your motivation. What is your biggest motivation? Is it to be able to play pain-free, to just give it one more kick at the can, or what is your biggest motivation?
Yeah, I think I, touched on it the last time we spoke. I think it's the biggest motivation is to, play with the group I played with my whole career and have another chance to win. That's about it. When you do a surgery like that for a goalie, it's a pretty significant injury. It takes a lot of time to recover. And, when you're trying to come back, you don't know how it's going to react and whatnot. So I'm just trying to get back in the groove of things and play some solid hockey and go from there.
Yeah. How good of a chance do you think this team has it going all the way?
I think it's as good as anybody else, the core group is still there. I think in the past few games, the team showed, that they can play some real solid hockey against good teams. And it's a long season, so there's still plenty of games left. And I think once we keep building on the right direction, like we always say, it's all about making the playoffs, and then everything can happen. So looking forward to that.
Thank you.
Ludo Shinzawa.
And then the rehab. What was the hardest thing about the process? There was the pain, the work that you put in. I'm sure it wasn't easy to go through.
So did you talk about? I missed the first part. You said about the rehab.
Yeah, the rehab and the surgery itself. Whether there was pain, whether there was, I'm sure there was a lot of work involved to get back to where you are now. What was the hardest part?
Being patient, I think. There's no pain. That's what was told to me before the surgery, that the rehab is fairly easy and pain-free. It's just the patience. Like the first month or 2 months, you can't really do anything more than lay on the table and let your trainer to kind of like mobilize the hip and make sure that it doesn't stiffen up too much. So I think that was probably the biggest thing for me. I'm not the most patient guy when it comes to just waiting around and not doing things. So that was the biggest challenge for me, for sure.
Kevin Dupont.
Hey, Tuukka.
Hey.
Thanks for doing this in the middle of the night. This is great. So,
No problem.
A couple of things here. I'm just curious, the news came out early yesterday afternoon. It's not been 24 hours, but what's been your response from pals from text or in the room, or what have they been saying? What's that feeling for you?
Well, you know what? I haven't really seen guys yet show up here, but I've been around here and them and my friends, they've known what's going on. So I've gotten texts obviously congratulating and people saying that they're happy to see me back soon. So that's the I guess what most people have said is congratulations and they're happy to see me back.
Yeah, you're not looking at this as sort of a farewell tour, are you?
We'll see. Like I said, I haven't made any plans for the future. I just want to, and I haven't played a hockey game in a long time. So I want to come back. I want to come back solid and start building on my game and kind of, get that, rhythm back that I'm used to having. So that's where my head's at right now. I haven't made any long-term plans yet, but we'll see what happens.
You didn't get that tune-up game with Providence. Disappointed not to get that, and does that give you any sort of, lack of a better word here, hesitancy about just sort of jumping back in now?
Well, it's obviously in hindsight, I guess it would have been nice to just go out there and get some kinks out, but then again, like you've seen guys go down after injuries and then they get lit up 6, 7, 8 goals. So I don't know if that's going to help you mentally either. So there's always that. I think it's going to be a mental challenge mostly anyways, come my next game. But then again, I played enough games that I think I can overcome that challenge and hopefully play at my best, because I expect to play a great game whenever that is. And whether that's realistic or not, that's what I expect, and we'll see what happens.
I'll just squeeze one last one here if I could. it's always been my impression, and I may be wrong about this, that when the day does come for you to retire, you'll go back to Finland. Is that, do you know what your horizon is there? Would you stay here? Would you go back?
Well, we're not sure yet. You know, kids are in school here, and they've made their friends here, and you know, we'll lived here over a decade now. We haven't made any you know, plans really. So both options are in play. If I would have to say right now, we're probably going to stay here, but who knows?
That's great. Thanks for all that, Tuukka.
Thank you. Thanks, Kevin.
Jimmy Murphy.
Hey, Tuukka, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good, man. I just wondering, you know, when you were, a lot of guys, when they leave the game and they retire, they say the thing they miss the most is just sort of the camaraderie in the dressing room, being around the guys like that. And really, because of COVID, that was pretty much interrupted for your last couple of seasons. But I'm just wondering, you know, when you were away full time, what was that like? Did you miss that a lot?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's, you know, I started playing hockey when I was very, very young, and you grow up in the locker room, and that becomes your family. So that's obviously going to be one of the biggest things that you miss. And then that was probably the biggest thing I missed during my time off. Okay, I got to be here and you know, interact with the guys to a certain level, so that helped. But obviously, it's a change when you go from hanging out with 20 plus guys on a daily basis to, you know, not really seeing them. So yeah, I would agree. That's something that you miss for sure.
And what's it been like so far? Have you been able to kind of catch up with some of the guys when you've been practicing with them and everything?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been normal. You know, that's, you know, I'm happy that it worked out that way, that I got the rehab here, and, you know, I got to skate with the guys for the past few weeks, just so, you know, it won't be a shock for everybody that, you know, when I show up one day and I'm back in the mix, that, you know, we have to catch up from 6 months ago, that, you know, I've seen the guys here along the way, and, you know, we don't have a whole lot of catching up to do. I think I'm the only guy who has catching up to do with hockey. So that'll be my challenge.
And I saw you struck a deal with Bud Light, huh?
I sure did. Yeah, there we go.
You can buy
me
them
your
a bunch
address
of
and
beers.
I'll send all the beer to you.
Thanks, man.
Got it.
We have time for two more. We'll go to Matt Porter.
Huomenta, Tuukka. I have to, you know, I know it's like getting back in a rhythm will be a problem, you know, or would be for any goalie. But how ready do you feel? You know, do you feel ready to go this week, I guess?
Yeah, well, you know, I've been practicing with the team for quite a bit now. I've been skating for a few months. So the sooner you throw me in there, the better it is. I don't think, you know, you can practice all you want. Game is still a different situation. So, you know, physically, I've been ready for a while. You know, like I think I said last time, the plan was to come back a little earlier, but then the COVID break kind of screwed that up. So, you know, physically I'm ready. Just, you know, making sure that don't get too frustrated mentally.
And then I know training, you know, you've obviously have had a process for getting ready for the season, for ramping up, for assessing your own game. But it is a little bit rare that you've had this, you know, amount of time off, you know, between seasons. Were you able to, within the rehab, you know, assess your own game and, you know, address any little weak spots physically or anything like that, kind of tweak things that way?
The rehab was mostly, you know, getting the hip strong and making sure that I stay loose and have the strength that I need in order to play hockey. Nothing major changes or major tweaks. No, I didn't do. But, you know, I think a challenge for me is going to be, usually everybody's on the same line when you start the season, and you know, you're going to work your kinks out together. But now when you jump in the middle of the season, it's a different situation. So like I said, that'll be a challenge for me.
Last question, Emily Benjamin.
Hey, Tuukka, you mentioned the other day about, you know, having another chance with Marchand, with Bergeron. Obviously, Bergeron has a contract that expires at the end of this year. Have you guys spent any time, I know you said the future is in the air, but have you guys spent any time talking about, as a group, how much longer this might go on, how many chances you might have left?
Not a whole lot. I mean, we've touched on that, you know, from time to time. And, I mean, we're realistic that we're getting older and then the window's closing. So, whatever that's a year, 2, 3 years, who knows? But it's closing and we know that. But we haven't talked about specific dates or nothing. I told Bergie a couple of weeks ago he should do what I did, just wait till half the season and sign next year so he can take some time off. He's played a lot of hockey.
Thanks, Tuukka. Thank you, media.
Thanks, guys.